It's late October and it's time for another garden update. We're going to be getting down into the mid-20s next week, or about minus 3.8 Celsius. So it's time to harvest just about everything we have left. The first thing I harvested was the Mega Gold, and we had a whole lot of green ones and quite a few ripe ones, and some that were just starting to get ripe. As you can see, this is just the green ones here, and there's a whole basket full. Then there were quite a few of the gold ones too. And these are a really good tasting pepper. Along with the Mega Gold, we had some Lesia, some Double Delight, and some lipstick peppers that were fully ripe. Along with the fully ripe ones, we had plenty of green ones too. We also had some eggplants to harvest. The first one here is a ping tongue, and this is a look at the next basket full of stuff. This is with the eggplants on it, and this is with the eggplants off, so you can see the rest of the peppers. One pepper that grew like crazy this year was our Brazilian starfish, and this pepper got over 6 feet tall, and it's just covered with peppers. We harvested quite a few of them already, but it's going to have a lot of peppers on it when the first freeze hits. Right next to the Brazilian starfish was the Sugar Rush peach, and it also grew to an impressive height of about 5 feet, and it was also loaded with peppers, as you can see here. And this gives you a look at the Brazilian starfish from another angle. Here's some of the Brazilian starfish peppers that I picked on this day, and here's some of the Sugar Rush peach peppers that I picked also. Along with all the rest of the peppers, I harvested some of our hybrid Oda peppers. These were crossed with an unknown pepper. They start out purple, but then they change to a variety of colors. Some of them change back to green, and then orange, and then red, and some of them get a hint of yellow in them. I got a few ahi mango peppers to go along with our Brazilian starfish and our Sugar Rush peach. Then I also found some ahi pineapple, and those are pretty hot. As if we didn't have enough pepper variety already, the habanada are starting to get ripe, and this one is just loaded with peppers. The habanada looks hot, but it has no heat, and right next to it is one called Savory. It gets red when ripe, and it has very mild heat. And then one that is also very mild is called Trinidad Perfume, and it's another pepper that looks like it should be hot, but is not. While I was doing some cleanup work and pulling up sweet potato vines, I found all of these sweet potatoes. And they were easy to find because they had already started to sprout again. I found most of these near the bale that we had the garnet sweet potatoes in, and if you haven't seen that harvest video, I'll put a link down below. Here's another surprise find that I found a little bit later, and it's a different variety. My tiny little fig tree has one fig on it, so I'm looking forward to seeing how it does next year. Since cold weather was coming very soon, it was time to cut this bunch of bananas. This is the one that fruited first, so I'll be cutting into these soon just to see what they have inside. I went ahead and peeled a few of these just so we could see what's inside. They are full of very hard black seeds. And there are so many of them that you can't even get a knife through one of these bananas. I just kind of cut around the outside peeling and then snapped that one in half. Well, actually I snapped two in half, but trying to eat one of these, you could risk breaking a tooth or swallowing some of these seeds. It just wouldn't be worth the effort. As far as I'm concerned, the fruit from the Musa velutina is worthless except for saving seeds from. So that's what I'm going to do with them. I tried to smash some up the best I could, and this is what you end up with, just a bunch of seeds with just a tiny bit of banana around each one. Even though we did get some peanuts, I would call this harvest just a little bit disappointing. I've grown peanuts before and did much better, And if you're curious about how peanuts grow, I did a video on growing peanuts in a container, so if you want to watch that, I'll put a link down below. One plant that I grew that I didn't really talk about much was cotton, and it's finally starting to open up. I've grown it before and it did much better when I grew it before, but this year I pretty much didn't give it any attention at all, and it kind of showed it. Here's what it looks like on the plant. There's 4 balls of cotton there, and sometimes they'll have 5 chambers instead of 4. I'm not sure why, but each one of these balls of cotton is full of pretty big hard seeds. More farmers are starting to grow cotton in our state, and this is a field that's a few miles down the road. From a distance, it almost looks like there's snow on the ground. Along with all the harvesting, it's also time to pull out some plants and do some cleanup work. Cleanup time is a great time to save seeds, and here I have some Malabar spinach seeds. During the really warm fall days, we had quite a few honeybees and bumblebees that were active on our Mexican sunflowers. Along with the rest of the cleanup, it was time to cut down the banana trees. After I cut them down, I put a layer of straw on top of the short stumps, and that will stay there till next spring. And then after the straw, I put a layer of the banana leaves on top of that, and then after that, I add more straw. In early October, I planted some garlic, and I don't make it too complicated. I just stick it a couple of inches down into the soil. And then normally I don't have to water, but this year I did have to do some watering because we're in a drought. So it was a little slow to come up, but we finally have some coming up now. This is one of our Yacon plants. For those of you who might not be familiar with Yacon, it's a South American plant, and it grows edible tubers, so I'm digging those up out of the ground. I didn't take very good care of this one. I didn't provide it enough water, so it just didn't do as well as it can, and these tubers are kind of small. Normally they're probably 4 or 5 times this big or bigger weight-wise. And this little tuber is kind of crisp and sweet and has a consistency similar to that of water chestnut. Some people say they taste similar to a pear, but I got a hint of carrot taste the first time I tasted one. Just above the tubers, there are usually some small eyes that look like sprouts getting ready to happen on the stems, and that's the part that you replant the next year. Here's a look at a couple of plants that I planted in the spring of 2019. So these have been in the ground about 1.5 years. I mulched them with straw in the winter time. This year I'm going to try to preserve a couple of taller stems on the banana tree instead of cutting them completely down to the ground. I'm going to do that by using a tomato cage. Around the tomato cage I wrapped it with landscaping cloth. Then I filled the tomato cage completely to the top with straw and covered the top with some more fabric. And this is what it looks like. Then after this was complete, I covered all of those banana leaves with more straw. We were supposed to get a freeze last night, so yesterday on Friday, I harvested a lot of peppers and other things out in the garden. Then I removed a bunch of plants. This is the habanada, and it's just loaded with fruit, so I picked all the ripe ones off of that one, and the Trinidad perfume and Zavaries that were ripe. Another container pepper we grew was called Puma, and it's a very hot pepper, and it was just loaded with fruit. And this is what I picked in one day. Even though I just recently harvested peppers, I still found quite a few peppers once I got out there and started pulling plants. So this is a good mixture of hot and sweet peppers. And this is another basket of hot and sweet peppers. We had a very productive pepper year, to say the least. While I was using the rake to do some cleanup work, I found more sweet potatoes. It seems like every time I started raking somewhere, I found a potato. This one's an Okinawan purple, and you can see the inside color since the end broke off. It's kind of a lavender color inside. This is a new pepper variety I'm working on. This is the F2 generation, and I like what I'm seeing so far. Let us know how your garden's doing, and let us know if you've made your final harvest. And if you're just now finding this channel, please subscribe. We'll see you next time.